Hi, and welcome to IshtaReads, where, yes, I am wearing the same t-shirt I had on yesterday. So all my videos up until now have been of me reading Rudyard Kipling's Just So stories, and while I really love the Just So stories, and I really hope you've enjoyed listening to me read them, unfortunately I checked the rest, and they're way too long for me to read in 15 minutes or less. In fact, they're some of them like 30 minutes. So plus, in addition to that, I've been learning how to use some video editing software on my computer so I can post videos that are not grainy or jumpy and that actually look like good. So that means I haven't had any time to research any of the cool stuff from my other videos, like how Peary sailed by latitude 50 degrees north, longitude 40 degrees west on his way to discover the North Pole, or how Amelia Earhart got lost on her way to an island whose name sounds kind of sort of similar to the name of the Howling Desert. So all of that means that I'm really sorry, but there's no reading today. But there is something else I want to talk to you about, and that is the size of the Little Mermaid's butt. See, my sons watched Little Mermaid for the first time last weekend, and when the movie was over, they said to me, "Mom, you know that scene where the shark is chasing the Little Mermaid around and Flounder in the shipwreck and they're trying to get away and Flounder keeps getting stuck in the porthole, but the Little Mermaid gets through even though her butt is way bigger around than Flounder is? Why is it like that?" Now, for the record, I love The Little Mermaid. I've loved it ever since I first saw it as a child, and I've never worked for Disney, so I can't say that I know what they were thinking when they decided to give The Little Mermaid a butt that defied the laws of physics and laws of common sense. But I do know this. The Little Mermaid is the hero in a fairy tale, and the Little Mermaid is also a princess in a fairy tale. And if there's one thing that I've learned from watching years and years of fairy tales, it's that the heroes and the princesses, they might get in a lot of dangerous situations, but they're not usually in very awkward or comical situations. That's kind of more of a sidekick thing. The sidekick gets stuck, the hero saves them. The sidekick gets embarrassed, the hero helps them save face. It's a much more elegant kind of situation. But then again, maybe elegant heroism isn't really what it's all about. I mean, after all, I know as a writer, heroes are supposed to be imperfect. That's what makes them human. It's what makes them relatable. They're supposed to make mistakes, and then we can cheer for them to dig their way out of the mistakes. That said, heroes are also supposed to be desirable. As one agent said that last week, and she's only the most recent of many, many, many agents and editors, I quote, "You have to be able to write a relatively realistic guy, and he has to be swoon-worthy." We have to fall in love with our heroes and our heroines. We have to wish that we could be them or wish that we could marry them. We have to want them in our lives all the time. We, as I said, have to fall in love with them. And that brings me back to Ariel and her physics-defying butt, because even though she was being heroic while she saved Flounder from the shark, and even though she was being a little bit messy and totally flawed when she created that little mess for herself when she signed the contract with the Sea Witch, the most obvious thing about Ariel, especially to little kids, is the thing that she shares with every cartoon princess and every cartoon superhero since pretty much the beginning of cartoons. And that is that she is H-O-T, hot. She's got an hourglass figure, she's got a tiny little wasp waist, she's got the shells which are covering the things that are like obviously there behind the shells. She's like a Barbie doll. She's proportioned like a Barbie doll, and Barbie sells. Now, boys don't get out of this too. They have to live up to the expectation of the Ken doll, and he sells too. Boys, it's the same for girls and boys. Unfortunately, in this day and age, even though now we have laws against super skinny models and laws against too young models, and we have incredible role models to look up to like Adele, like Oprah Winfrey, like the Obamas, role models of all different shapes and colors and sizes, we're still inundating our kids and ourselves with a very standardized idea of beauty. And magazines are still airbrushing photos. Tween and teen girls are still growing up thinking that getting plastic surgery will boost their self-esteem. And you may say media doesn't really have anything to do with that, that it's more what they're surrounded by in terms of their parents and their friends, but I say media does definitely play a role. I mean, if my 5-year-old son noticed the size of Ariel's butt, then other kids are going to notice too, even if they don't talk about it and even if they don't ask questions about it. What we tell our kids right now is very different from what we're showing our kids when we let them watch TV, when we let them watch movies, when we let them choose what toys to play with, when we give them toys to play with. And I think that's the opposite of heroic. I think it's wrong, and I think it's cowardly to just let these things flow over our kids without saying anything and without doing anything different. It makes me sad, and it also makes me really mad because I loved The Little Mermaid when I was a kid. I loved the music. I loved the hopefulness of the idea that you can make mistakes and still have things turn out okay. I loved the way her friends stood by her even when they thought she was totally nuts. I loved all those things about The Little Mermaid, and I really want to be able to share those things with my own kids, the things that I loved when I was a kid, without giving them weird messages and weird body image issues. Then again, my kids did ask some really good questions, and we did have a really good discussion about beautiful appearances versus beautiful behavior and how those are two vastly different things with two vastly different levels of importance. And then there's me, raised on a diet of Barbie princesses and airbrushed magazines, standing here vlogging to the world, wearing yesterday's t-shirt and no makeup. Maybe there is some hope after all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.